Hey, Jojo.
Oh yeah, hi.
That's a beautiful chair. And that's even more beautiful. And there you are. Hello, brother. Hey.
Hi, sister. Good morning.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, good
good.
evening for you.
Yeah, and good evening for me. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us again. This I was just telling everybody in
It's
the
an honor.
introduction.
Thanks for yes.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. So this is the second conversation. The first one we had a few weeks ago was giving context, a lot of socioeconomic and political context, actually, to how we find ourselves now in the world with food sources, and then bringing it down into work with cacao in a more sacred way, in a way that's more aligned into right relationship. And today we're going to get into some more specifics. So perhaps before I jump
Yes.
into the first question for a topic conversation, anything you feel you would like to share or just bring to everybody's attention that's listening?
Right now, yeah, I would like to say welcome to everyone and thank you so much again for being available for this conversation, and thank you for the one that I followed the previous one. I think we got carried on in our in the talk because it's such a deep, fascinating, and alive and contemporary topic that we could talk about it for so many hours. And if I wanted to say also today that I would like to give some reading suggestions on the topic, because there are some, for example, historical or social cultural aspects that are so deep that they are absolutely excellent books on this topic that went really deep. And yeah, I wanted to say hello to everyone.
Awesome.
And thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Jojo. So the reading references, I think that's a great idea, and we can even add them in the comments afterwards. So if anybody's getting this in the recording, then we'll put it there as well. Thank you. So let's start by just honing this in a bit, because I really want to get to the heart of the matter of working with integrity with cacao, especially if we're looking at cacao being more of a sacred medicine rather than just a superfood, which it is also as well. So to enter into that, I'd like to hear your definition of ceremonial grade cacao. And I know we covered this last time, but then that took us into a whole other conversation. But today, just to introduce this, what is ceremonial cacao? And then we can take that into how to work in integrity with ceremonial cacao. So what is that for you?
Okay. Yes, thank you. I'm going to try to be more precise and factual. Please help me not get lost into so many tangents. The thing is, ceremonial cacao, as we tackled last time, there are some physical way to explain it. There is a very production base, so a very technical way to explain it, like what is it, in the world of chocolate, and I think we talked about this last time, that it is paste that was made with a certain set of integrity, respect, and grounding into spiritual roots. So at Cacao Source, as a sourcing company, in which we really have constantly, at every cycle, we recenter our approach about the social economical work of sourcing, and how it's not only social and economical, and how is it human and cultural and even spiritual. But for us, we've been trying to be a channel of responsibility and integrity in that way, and define what would be an ethical sourcing of ceremonial cacao, and like what would be the ethics. And here, precising that we also wanted to differentiate ourselves from fair trade cacao. Not that I have anything against fair trade cacao, but one of our conclusion before starting Cacao Source, or observation, was that fair trade cacao, in our opinion, was great, was setting the basis, was setting the tone, was setting a vision, but in terms of consequences was not through enough. It was not enough. It is not enough, because the chocolate economy is so exploitative and it's so hypocrite, in my opinion. So it is contradictory that it's so hard, to be still mass production oriented and be really fair. Is it really fair trade? So in that order, in the order of defining sourcing ethics with Cacao Source, we came out with 5 criteria, very clear, that are accessible on our website and that are more about the sourcing. But before I go into the technicalities of these 5 criteria, I just wanted to mention, and it's something I do in the ceremonies I attend to and that we hold space into, is really to present to people that we need I think the most important here in this debate, in this conversation we have, in this question, in the ceremonial cacao world, for me, the preamble to everything is respecting the elders. Let's respect the elders' authority. And we could even stop the podcast here. Of course, we have so much to say, but like the authority and the voice of the community elders, or in that case, the Mayan elders, but it's not only Mayans now that do cacao ceremonies, is primordial, is fundamental, because within the reawakening of Central American cultures, or not their reawakening, but their reconsideration by international eyes and audience, by other, especially Western countries, the rediscovery of these cultures comes in something that for me, especially as a man, is very interesting, very has been very inspiring and very teaching, is a re-understanding of authority, and seeing authority not at this patriarchal, very political or very imperialist type of structure, but more as its essence, which is like the discipline of the masculine, which is the timelines, which is the respect, which is literally building building with stones of undestructible values, the edifice, the structure of our ethics. And I've seen that in different Mayan traditions, how important it is. Not in a way that it's like, oh, it's so important, like we have to shout it always, or we have to. No, it's important in a way that it's secret and it's fundamental. It's like for the authorities, and in that case, the elders. And the elders in most Mayan nations, they went through a whole life of commitment. And even sometimes it's really interesting because it's divided in different phases of numbers of years that correspond to the sacred numerology of the calendar. So, for example, there will be cycles of 7 years of certain type of commitment, and then certain shorter 5-year cycles of different type of work, of learning, for example, receiving, service. And in certain Mayan traditions, you have to go through these steps to become an elder. You have to, here in Guatemala, the reawakening tradition now is a lot organized about going for a 9 months journey to go pray in the most recognize some of the most important altars all around the country. So it's like a pilgrimage of 9 months where you do 21 sets of very precise and very important invocation and ceremonies. And so why I'm mentioning all that as a preamble to what I want to define and what we define with Cacao Source is this importance of giving the voice, giving the space. And I think all of us that we are called by cacao, that we are in this cacao culture and this connection with cacao, the love for cacao, I invite all of us to really always with humility, with respect, with integrity. And it's really I invite everybody to relax, to surrender into respecting the elders. It's their role, and they will have the background to not be abusive, to be, and that's why we so rarely hear them, because they're not going to shout. They're going to be very patient, and they are very present. They are here. And for example, the Council of Elders in Guatemala has been recognized by the Guatemalan state in 2015, finally. And they are talking. They're actually, nowadays, they're debating about Ceremonial-Cacao after what happened with the Maya Wisdom Project. If you guys don't know, go check it out. Maya Wisdom Project, they're very influential right now. They have a very influential voice. And there's been a slight scandal that exploded some very fundamental questions that are about ethics, that are about sourcing ethics and remuneration ethics. So it's very in the air nowadays. It's happening. It's an important question. And I feel like they're going to come out soon. I know they're going to, Anjali was letting me know that they're going to meet and have a council. It's called the Kotsir. It's like the flower council. It's like a constellation of the different nations where they share and define some we could say resolutions, but it's not like this. But anyway, they're going to talk about Ceremonial-Cacao soon, and they're probably going to come out with something. And I think this is the most important for us. So sometimes we have people coming here, and they come to us, and they feel a call to connect with cacao. They're really curious. They're like, it's part of, it's in their past, it's in their life, and they come here as like, I want to know about cacao. And then talking for a few minutes, I realized they also are in touch with, or like they're connected. They are called by the Mayan wisdom tradition, by the Mayan wisdom. And then I think it's really important to always say like, hey, Mayan wisdom is it belongs to the Mayan wisdom. It's only Mayan wisdom. We can't. It's like being an elder or being an akir. It's a life commitment. It's for the whole life, always, and it's very specific. And the ceremonies that come with are extremely specific. They're prayers that have been done the same way for generations and generations. And the elders always say, if you're gonna receive this heritage, this transmission, you take it as it is. You don't add, you don't take out. Then you can be yourself always. You are yourself through this channel of expression, but you preserve that's the value of Mayan oral wisdom. It is so precious, and it is rare because it's kept in secret, and that also show how precious it is. And one of the reasons why it's so precious is because it is precise. It hasn't been, in French we say it goes through this process of like on the phone, one person says something and then the other one changes, and then the other one, and the last person gets it's not like this for the Mayan wisdom. It's actually refining through the generations, and especially nowadays, the elders are extremely careful with internet and with how their voice can be taken and reused. And they ask that we always bring back to them and like let the space to who holds it. So that's my first parenthesis. And then I would say I want to remember everybody, because oftentimes I see beautiful people with amazing intentions that are super curious, and they like, for me, the first aspect about Mayans is that there are many different cultures. So it's not like there's one Mayan truth. No, there are different Mayan nations. There are the Tzotzil-Etzeltal, for example, in Chiapas in Mexico. There are the Chol, here there's the Cachiquel and the Tzutujil, and they're all different. Of course, there are similarities, but it's different. It's different nations, we could say, and so there are different truths. There are different ways, and so that's the first aspect for me. I think ceremonial, the idea of ceremony, the reawakening of ceremony, this is where it comes from. It comes from the heroes that through centuries of oppression have had the courage in their family to transmit in secret something that could could cost the life not only of them but their whole family and the whole village. You know, Franciscans in the 18th and 19th century, they would burn entire villages for spiritual questions. You know, and that's how it became so secret. So I see it even as a historical duty for us now to give this space, to leave this space to the elders. So that was my first point.
Yeah.
Then comes, okay, the Mayan wisdom is being re-emerging to the international eyes, even to himself. Mayans, even some person here talk about neo-Mayaismo. So in English, it would be like neo-Mayaism as a historical term to say like, yeah, now there's a new generation. Things are happening here. There's a blooming. There is it became safe to publicly show yourself as an arquer.
Yeah.
And that's pretty recent here in Guatemala. It was dangerous. It is still very dangerous in some regions, you know. A brujo, a sorcerer, or a wisdom keeper, or curandero. There are several names, right? Even if curandero can refer to different set of like skills or role. But yeah, one of them was burnt alive 5 years ago in Alta Verapaz here in Guatemala. So it is still a very, very, very painful, extremely tricky topic here in many ways. Once again, has to be taken with a lot of care. But yeah, what I was saying is it is known here, like it is very vibrant, very alive, that there is a reawakening, that we are in a new phase. And actually, the elders knew it because, as you know, we are in a new Baktun. In the Chalkir, in the moon calendar, in 2012, we entered a new phase of approximately 500 years, which actually corresponds totally with the colonization dates. So we just went through this whole destructive colonization phase, and now we are in a new chapter, new Baktun, with like a whole renewal. Throughout this renewal, we global, internationalized, multicultural, you know, we have many names. I like to identify myself, for example, as French, but also rainbow or like European, and we have this very multicultural culture, and I could even say multicultural roots. And us, there is a global, an international current, cultural current around ceremonial-Cacao. There are many forms of ceremonial of cacao ceremonies happening all over the world. People doing meditation circles. I think we mentioned it. We talked about it right in the previous conversation. And we are present. We exist. We are also a movement. We are, and we are very inspired from different traditions. But we are also who we are, and I think it's important to recognize ourselves. Like, yeah, we are a culture, an emerging culture. And within this culture, I think there's an opportunity of defining our discipline, defining our ethics, our integrity. And this is what we try to do with Cacao Source. So coming straight to the point, sourcing ethics of Cacao Source, we defined 5 of them. The first one is respect for the land. I choose the word respect in its broad definition. When I say respect with the land, I mean connecting with the land, praying with the land, knowing the land, you know, literally having, for me, it's like having met the trees, having respected the trees. But also, how do we work? You know, how do we farm? How do we understand the land? Meaning, are we farming the land with monoculture, trying to fight diversity, or are we allowing diversity and are we working with diversity, integrating them in our design? For us, that's the first and most fundamental question. How is the work with the land going? And through our approach, through my years and years of going all over the country and staying in different Mayan communities, I've witnessed, and now I've learned a lot. There's a fascinating book. It's called the Maya Forest Garden. Strongly recommend it. I will put it in the notes afterwards. And it talks about this Mayan tradition of permaculture and agroforestry. And I want to define permaculture and agroforestry here. If you've never heard of it, I very much invite you to go check it out. What is permaculture? What is agroforestry? And what is the Mayan legacy of permaculture and agroforestry? It's absolutely part of the different cultures here and their history in many different ways and their connection with the land. Very fundamental aspect. And it's in the Mayan tradition, it's all about diversity and the fruit forest, working with the forest to be in cohesion with her instead of fighting her and trying to impose a massified industrial model. That doesn't work. That's just, we know nowadays that it doesn't work anymore, and it's actually catastrophic. So it's changing, and it has to. So that's the first aspect. Second aspect is respect for the people. Once again, the word respect, which involves different aspects of integrity. So for us, it involves the human connection, the human respect. We know personally all the farmers we work with. We went there, we meet the groups. Now we started working with cooperatives for example, but there's a lot of people in there, and we're gonna go meet them. We're gonna go make the effort to go over all the lands, if possible. And we did that with all the sources that we already have. We have sat with dozens and dozens of different actors, farmers, local authorities also, and collectives. And but it's not only that. It's not only this human basic form of respect. It's also economical, what I would call economical integrity, which comes as an obvious aspect of social economy for us. But we're in such a globalized, imperialist, exploitative economy that a lot of very exploitative norms are so internalized, integrated, that it's almost normal. So we're trying to debuild this and tell people like, hey, your work has to be valued, not per hour in relationship to a national defining of how low people should be paid per hour, or this historical norm of how your work is worth nothing, for whatever reason. No, we refuse that, and having the courage to create this dialogue with all the people of like, how do we establish a fair pay based on the final benefits? And that's how we inscribed ourselves as a social business. It's like we consider the social the benefits, the price of the product, how much we earn as a company that we buy, transform, and distribute this product and promote this product. And yeah, just having this transparency, like how much money goes back to you as a farmer, and what is our strategy towards it? Like, do we want to pay you at least the least possible, or do we want to value your work? What can we do? How can we work together? When can we be back? Do you want to have lunch with me? Let's be friends. Like we are in the same boat. Like let's literally, even if the enterprise has the name and it's an enterprise and you are a farm and you are a provider, and yes, there is a professional relationship. Yes, there is a power dynamic. I don't want to deny that. For sure, there is a power dynamic, but it can be done with respect. And for me, respect involves this. And of course, and at last but not least, the pay. We're gonna pay you a good salary. Regarding the price, not regarding what a good salary should be here in Guatemala, because there is this reference is worthless because salaries here are shit show. So yeah, that's the second aspect, respect for the people. And I could go on, like, of course, we're humans, we're complex animals, so there are a million aspects to respect for the people. Spiritual, like, okay, we respect whatever your belief system, your religion is. We're gonna respect it. If you work with love, with a pure heart, if you garden every day, if you sit with those trees and pray with them, and if you connect, if you really spiral literally with the harmony, with the abundance, with the lushness of your land, then even if you are in Islam here in Guatemala, like, your religion doesn't matter to us. Also, we come in with this respect as well of like, because we work with evangelist farmers, we work with Catholic farmers, we work with most of the farmers. They're more of like a little bit of everything. Like oftentimes in Guatemala, they appear socially and politically, and in their community, they appear as evangelist or Catholic, and also they have many syncretism, or like Mayan traditions that are absolutely integrated in their spirituality and in their life. So we respect also that. We try to not impose any worldviews or so.